your anchor point here, you kind of push this arm into release. Okay, so that's a byproduct of your trunk moving with your hips, and you're not able to then pull the arm through as the trunk then starts its rotation, because as you can see here at your anchor, that front shoulders is leaking out, so therefore your trunk rotation's already started. Okay, and now it's just a completion of your rotation of the trunk, which pushes the arm through. So in the report, there's going to be some progressions you can use to preset those hips and preset that trunk almost counter rotated, and then pull the arm through. It's going to be a completely different sensation to pull that arm through, because we want to actively engage, like pulling with the pec, the lat, all of these big muscle groups. We want to pull that arm through, okay, instead of just really like completing that trunk rotation and pushing the arm, because again, we're trying to utilize our energy system as one. And if our trunk rotation is early and it's moving with our hip rotation, then our arm thinks it needs to create its own power. It needs to create its own energy, when the energy should really come from the hips completing their rotation, which brings the trunk into rotation. The trunk rotation then pulls the arm through, which would create more speed of the arm, okay, rather than having to create that speed on its own. I guess breakdown pattern cleaned up a little bit, and we come into rotate and we go into our throw, and we essentially are getting that ball into release, and this is kind of goes hand in hand with why I think your long toss cleans up, because we're trying so hard to put it to a location, right, that our natural instinct sometimes becomes like, okay, now we're throwing darts, right? Instead of like really maximizing the big muscles of the pec and the lat and pulling that arm through and utilizing that rotational energy with the arm. I need to give you some more context. So I have Luis Castillo, who I know isn't your typical arm slot, but you'll see as he kind of enters his drive phase, gets the hands coming up, stays closed, and then now coming into that position where you're in powerful, you'll see that the arm is now being pulled through the zone with that pec, pulled through. And I know the arm slot's a little bit different, but you'll see that he maximizes that extension by pulling that arm through, not necessarily like guiding that, right? So you'll see here, you kind of push the arm, lead with the elbow, and then your trunk, your chest is, behind that lead knee. So we're just not maximizing as much extension as we want in our throw. Okay, we want to extend that trunk and really maximize shoulder extension, late launch. So some guys with the pushy arm action pattern kind of rotate into this elbow leading throw like they're throwing darts, right? So I'm going to talk from the mechanical standpoint, not the mental standpoint, because I have kind of two different theories on that. So from the mechanical standpoint, going back to the importance of hand raise, arm swing, when we are early with the dynamic of hand raise, right? This is what happens. The trunk begins to rotate prematurely. Okay, the trunk cannot delay rotation through time and space while you're driving if the hand is up here. It can delay rotation if the hand is beginning its ascend to hand raise, arm swing, okay? So guys that are early with the hand now begin to go early with the trunk, right? So say at front foot strike, the hand is here and the trunk is here. So now the trunk beginning to prematurely rotate can't effectively pull the arm through, right? So since you're already rotated before the anchor comes down, which is that lead leg, right? That lead foot. Now the only thing you really can do is the opposite of aggression, push that arm through, right? Now, I'd encourage you, if you haven't already, to watch a lot of my stuff on the dynamic of pushy arm action versus pulling arm action, right? And utilizing the big muscles, because that is one major thing that I see, and it all stems from the timing of this
and the relation to our anchor point, which is that front foot coming down to touchdown. Okay, so right off the bat, you see that the importance of the timing and why it being early is bad for that pushy arm action, right? This kind of gets misinterpreted, but we do want extension. Okay, we want extension. We want our throwing shoulder to be in front of our glove side shoulder, but at what expense? We don't want to rotate and then have that elbow like get super out front, and then you just see that kind of tricep press, right? So not only are we making the elbow extremely vulnerable to all the forces and stability that it has to go through, but we're also lacking as much power output as we possibly can. So like I said, we want to make sure that we're maximizing the big muscle groups in our body. So that's why we want to pull, almost that pulling sensation with that pec and that lat, and feel that.